When Sarah's Guest House first opened its doors in 1994, our goal was simple: provide a home away from home for patients and their families traveling to Central New York to receive necessary medical care. But Sarah's Guest House was so much more than just a place to stay from the very beginning. It was and continues to be a place of warmth and hospitality at a time when guests need it most. It's friendly rides to medical appointments, home-cooked meals, and most importantly, compassion and support in a time of uncertainty.
We live in Utica, New York, but both of us are originally from Boston, and we've been in upstate New York for 45 years or so.
For a long time.
Yeah.
We were actually in bed, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't sleep, and so I thought, rather than keep him awake, I'll take my iPad downstairs and read. Disregarded all safety precautions, didn't hold the handrail, that kind of thing. I held my iPad like this. Tripped and fell down just about the whole flight of stairs.
I was awake, and I saw her at the bottom of the stairs in a pool of blood, and right away I called 911, and they came, took her to the local hospital. And about shortly thereafter, they said, we got to go to transfer to Upstate Medical Center for surgery and trauma care.
The multiple facial fractures, of course, were the big thing, and I had also 2 broken arms because I was holding my iPad. They weren't so sure that I was going to even make it.
I came October 22nd and I stayed until December 19th or so. I was here for my son. I was here so long that I made friends with the other guests in the house, and my husband was back in Michigan while I was here, and each night I would call him, give him the update, and I'd say, okay, I'm on my way home now, and he would panic and he'd say, you're driving back to Michigan? And I'd say, no, I meant Sarah's Guest House. That is my home.
We've had a very long relationship with Sarah's Guest House, and for us, it actually allows us to have patients come and get treatment that would almost certainly have to go elsewhere.
Initially, I stayed at a hotel for the first couple of days, and it was kind of lonely and cold, but staying at Sarah's Guest House provided a sense of home away from home. It was clean, it was comfortable, there was a lot of privacy. To be able to have a little home-cooked meal or just to be able to relax in one of the rooms and read or to watch television.
Some patients had to travel an hour and a half, 2 hours to get here. So to have the availability of not only housing, but the care and camaraderie that folks can get staying at Sarah House is really incredible for our patients and for the medical center.
It was probably the best thing I could have done, because there's nothing wrong with the hotel, but it wasn't like staying at Sarah's Guest House, because it was the best way I could describe it, I guess, is a home away from home. I speak also from my children, Pat's sister, the people that stayed here. The reaction was all the same. What a wonderful place for you to be during this important and critical time in your life.
I think there's a definite benefit to the community in looking at, okay, Syracuse may be 90 miles away, 120 miles away, but gee, if I go there, I know that there's this option I've heard about, Sarah's Guest House, maybe much more likely to actually look at coming to us versus another system.
I've been a volunteer with Sarah House. I can't even remember the date I started. Sarah House used to be a regular little residential blue house next door to where it is. Of course, I just fell in love with the mission and the people. You got to sit down and talk to people. All I was able to do was just to drive for Sarah House, and that's what I've been doing all these years, driving. You don't have to worry about how you're going to get to the hospital, where you're going to park, the one-way streets. What am I going to do? I'm not going to get out of the hospital till late. How do I get to, where's a store or a restaurant I can go to? You don't have to worry about that. It's taken care of. Just worry about the most important thing, and that's that loved one you got to take care of in the hospital, and yourself.
We wanted to serve the community. We learned about the Sarah Guest House and its mission, and we knew it was a perfect fit. We're all in the food industry. We love to eat, and what is more nurturing to the soul of the giver and the receiver than sharing a home-cooked meal?
Absolutely. We come in here and we see the people who are just decompressing after being at a day at the hospital with their loved ones. I think to come in, and they're so gracious and thankful for us being here to bring a hot meal, to make it look pretty, because you don't think about that when you're in a hospital. You know, you're drinking concession coffee and cafeteria foods when you can come home, drain yourself in front of the television, then come eat a home-cooked meal. I think it's the best feeling in the world.
Honestly, we get as much, if not more, out of it than the guests that are here. It's just very simple things that you can do to make a difference.
And the people who write the most beautiful letters of thank you, the women who have come up and just given us hugs, I think it makes it all worthwhile.
We recognize that a support system, having a good support system for patients is really critical. There's some data showing that it actually helps in terms of how well patients do, patients with cancer and other patients. So it's really critical that somebody feel like they do have that support system. It's a very challenging time in many folks' lives, although many patients do very well with treatment, but it's really important that they can have as much of their normal surroundings around them when they come here.
You go there and you're surrounded by people who need help and people who want to help.
It's the plants, it's the calming colors on the walls, it's the comfortable furniture. It's like you're walking back into your own home.
The staff, I can't say enough about the staff and the volunteers.
I wouldn't have made it through all of the visits and all of the days at ICU without being able to come back to Sarah's Guest House and spend quiet time and relate with the other guests who were doing the same as I was.
I've been through situations similar to what these people have been through also, and I know the emotions, the stress.
There's always going to be hardship, but to know that a community can rally around its members and help them out like this is very touching. We've all been affected by family members that have had their struggles, and just to know that there's this kind of support system means a lot.
There are those that don't have what we have, so we want to make sure that they're as comfortable as possible, and when they're going through such a tragedy in their life.
Most patients obviously have a medical condition that's stressful to begin with, so to have other things taken care of, not worry about how they're going to get here, where they're going to stay, what are the additional costs. It's really critical to helping with their well-being, helping them decide to come here for care and helping them to get through their care.
It was a blessing. I couldn't say enough about it. It made a big difference, I think, in terms of my attitude and my ability to cope with the situation we were going through, because it was really on a day-to-day basis that we were facing the outcome of what Pat was facing.
They actually grounded him the way I usually do. And so I thanked them for that. I just said that was the gift. The gift that you gave me was taking care of him.
It's important to get good volunteers, but it's also important for the community to know that this exists and that this makes a difference in people's lives.
Just thank God they were here. And, I hope they'll be here for a long time.
We've been inspired by the strength and resilience of our many guests and are proud to have been a small part of their journeys.